We're here today with Mike Mullins, designer of Bottom of the Ninth and Pentaquark.
Welcome to Design Diary, the podcast where you get to look inside my board game design notebook as well as what's going on inside my head. We look at a new word each day from the sense of mechanics, tone, theme, or inspiration for a full game. Today's word is...
abide. To bear patiently, tolerate, to endure without yielding, withstand, to wait for, await, to accept without objection, to remain stable or fixed in a state, to continue in a place, sojourn. There's the 100 definitions for the word abide.
That's awesome.
So which one of those did you run with?
Well, sort of. So to withstand without yielding, those kind of things. So what this originally made me think about, of course, was the dude who always abides.
The dude abides.
But pushing past the designing a Big Lebowski game, I don't know if you've ever played any of the like card battle games or things like that have specific goals. So it's like, all right, we'll win this fight with like seven or fewer remaining hit points or something like that, right?
Okay, yeah.
And those are always interesting tasks because you need to not run over the opponent, right? You got to a lot of times when you're trying to do those more difficult ones, you're talented enough or you have enough cards or whatever that you could destroy the opponent. But you have to let them whittle you down and then finish them right before they kill you. Usually it's like a turn difference, right? Like if you screwed around too much, then you would lose the game or whatever.
Yeah.
So when I started thinking about abide, I thought about that specific goal and allowing yourself to get hurt or whatever as part of how you would win. And then trying to set that as the primary goal didn't seem all that interesting. So I was trying to think of another way where, as part of the way that you did things, that you had to abide, you had to take damage or whatever. And then my sort of tangent from there was I was thinking about allowing your opponent to do things, right?
Okay.
So maybe even casting something is a negotiation where it's like, all right, I'm going to put this into play and you have to allow your opponent to do that. And I was like, well, it's kind of clunky because then you could just not allow them or whatever. So basically what it kind of came around to was some sort of card battle system, which I know there's a million of them, but this is just kind of the starting point. And I was thinking about one of the things that has made modern card games popular is the fact that there's no land to cast stuff, right? Like with Hearthstone or many other things, you get 1 or 2 mana in round 1 and 3 in round 2 and 4. So it has a natural escalation.
They've gotten rid of the big management.
Right, exactly. Which, to be honest, I never really liked, but I get that that's a deck building strategy and blah, blah, blah. I get that it's its own cool thing.
Yeah.
And so what I was thinking about basically is that, so in the game, it is a heads-up card battle system. So if you think basically like Magic, you're a good starting point, right? You can put in any level 1 creatures into play for free or cast any level 1 spells for free. You can do that once per turn. Anything else you want to do, whether it's to put a second card in play or cast anything like that's level 2 or higher, you have to ask your opponent if you are allowed to do that. Okay.
Amazing.
And so you put a card face down and you're like, all right, I want to bring in a level 2 creature. And your opponent has to say yes or no, right? And so if they say yes, you're allowed to summon that creature. And again, there's no cost for it. It's, the cost is that negotiation.
Yeah.
So then if you allow that, then you get, I don't know, abide points.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever it is, right? So that's part of the currency is that you are building up these points that you are so chill, you're letting your opponent do these things. And I thought similarly, each unique point of damage you took, so I take 3 damage from this, that's 1 abide point. I took a damage from a spell, that's 1 abide point, right? So you have this, that's one of the currencies. So obviously you have your own health, you have your abide points, and then you get refusal points. Your opponent would get refusal points if you decided not let them, right?
Yeah.
So there might even be a straight up win condition, like if you refuse the 5th thing, you just lose, or there could be like some sort of hidden rule where In order to win, you have to not only knock your opponent out, but you must refuse 3 or less times, and they don't know like what your targets are. Like, okay, I need to accumulate 30 abide points, and I can only refuse 2 times before I die.
Yeah.
Right? So then, obviously, it would require some crazy amount of balancing because, you need to be able to have the point totals not get whittled down so quickly. Like, I'm just going to run you over. Even if you say yes to like 2 or 3 things, I'm going to run you over with these particular spells or whatever. But the whole back and forth is like this, how much stuff can I let my opponent actually bring into play before he outright kills me, and I need to, whatever. So I just kind of thought that would be an interesting take on the whole concept of casting stuff.
It is, and it fits right in with that like 1v1 fighting game, because I don't even know if you played the like last iteration of like the Homestuck game I was working on, God Tier, but we had the Frostbitten Durst points where basically you did something good, if you did something like positive, you got a positive marker. If you did something negative, you got a negative one, and you could be balanced in the middle. But negative ones gave you extra defense. Positive ones give you extra defense. The negative ones, I forget, it's been so long, but it accumulated to like a really bad thing that could happen. And it just feels like a really good 1v1 battle system thing.
Yeah, and whenever I look at something like that, what makes Magic and the other successful ones successful is that there's lots of paths to victory.
Yeah.
And the problem with some of the ones that have just flash in the pan come and gone is that there's a dominant strategy. And so it would seem to me that there's this fun, all right, well, I'm going to let you do whatever you want, but I'm going to rush you, or whatever it happens to be, I'm going to defend just enough. And there's some funky things to consider, like, so, if attacking or defending is not compulsory, then once it got a little bit tense, like, oh, well, I don't have enough points to win, so if I knock him out, he's going to win on abide points or whatever.
Yeah.
So if there was some sort of compulsory attacker situation where it's like, okay, I need to put the cards out there to whittle the life total down, but then oh, well, she's gonna win this round unless I can find a way to like knock out my own creature because I don't have enough abide points to actually knock her out or whatever.
For me, as the perpetual engine builder, I want to cash in my abide points for like a constant that I have out in play.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's one of the game's currency.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether it's like you need 10 or more to be allowed to finish off your opponent or something like that, or again, like it could even be a weird hidden role thing where like, I only need 6 to win, but I only have 2 refusals in the whole game, or something like that. Like that would be kind of lots of different ways to approach that, or not even necessarily hidden, where it's like, this is the person that I'm playing. Here's my very attainable target, but I have to say yes to everything that you do. Like.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
When the person shows up with like a red deck against you, it's like, wow, you're super aggro. It could be the same thing when you drop that card down and be like, I'm going to say yes to whatever you want, but I only need like 12 points to win. So
yeah, I just want to yes, and just hold myself off till I drop this massive bomb, that I build up like just via just being this good guy and saying yeah and totally.
Oh, right,
swap
and then as the other player, one of your responses is to stop asking.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? But, so do you like intentionally nerf your own play because you're only putting in one little level, one spell per turn or whatever? And then there's lots of other fun directions to go with it. Like, if depending on your interest in the natural escalation, it could be that like you can only play something that's the next level up. So if you're trying to go level 3 and you only have a level 1 on the table, then that's worth 2 abide points or whatever. So like, something like that.
My brief idea was, and it could actually go really well with that, is just a game where the whole beginning is just planning. And I don't even know what I mean by planning, but really just like us playing separately from each other, building up our things, and then we spent all this time for this big end, and it's just like, you know, it's a lot of like resource management and just shuffling things around, and at the end your plan comes together, and then it's just like you throw it at the table, almost like a, you know, a terrible theme, but like building up for a science fair and then having your science fair. But, you know, but instead of that, it would just be, you know, building up, of course, a battle or something along those lines. But I don't know, just having just like, and I thought of it as being very meta, where in the gameplay it's the same thing. You're abiding as you play. You're just setting up and setting up and setting up and setting up for this big finish when we finally call, all right, show me what you got, and then it goes.
Right.
I don't know of any games that are like that.
Something climactic that to not just get away from the battle thing would be like a heist type situation where one person is like building up their security. So it's like, all right, I'm going with like, you know, heat sensors and a laser net and this and that. And like, oh, well, I went with, you know, I can rappel down the roof and I can like all this stuff. So
I want to do like, all right, we got the heat sensors, and then the guy who had to scout the location scouted some sort of like freezer thing where there's no heat, like just they all were planning in secret, and just see if this heist actually works out.
Right. Yeah. There would need to be some public things like, okay, if as I'm playing cards, I have to install this thing, so you know that like there's construction going on in like the west wing of this mansion or whatever it is, and so you can try to scout that out. So there would be some interplay back and forth, trying to like figure out. Because it'd be kind of dumb to be like, haha, here's my intricate defense. And it's like, oh, I just tunneled up from the basement and I win on this one card. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
There would need to be some interplay. Like, you know, you must go through this corridor because whatever reason, you know, to force some actual interplay.
Have you played a good heist game? Like, it seems like it's a ripe theme, and I know there are heist games, and I just saw one today on Board Game Geek that I can't remember the name of. But I've never really had one that I love.
Did you play Burgle Brothers?
Yes, I did play. That was fun. That was good.
Yeah, that's the one that I would point to. Where,
yeah, that's definitely the one.
Yeah, where you feel like you're pulling something off when you do.
Yeah,
I think that's the key element that's missing, is that even some of the other ones, you know, when you do whatever, it's like you win. It just feels like, oh, well, I moved my players around better. You know, and I feel like that one actually kind of feels like you pulled something off. It's like, I can't believe that the security guard didn't walk this way. Or, you know, like, it kind of feels like you got away with something.
Yeah. The one I thought of was, it's not even Heist, it was Spies. It was Heimlich and Company.
I played that one.
Yeah, it's an old, I guess it was a Spiel des Jahres winner, and it's being remade as a game called Top Secret Spies, or it was I don't know. But I saw an ad for it on Board Game Geek today. It's old. 84.
84.
Yeah, so cool. That's all I have. So I think that's unless we want to go Big Lebowski theme, which I always want to do.
Well, I mean, I always want to go Big Lebowski fishing, but
so
it's like, all right.
Oh, good. No, here's the challenge that I have for the week. That I've done this all week, and I wasn't gonna put you through it, but I am. I tried to approach each word and come up with a starting player mechanic for every word. And the reason why I want you to do it is because you came up with the brilliant starting player mechanic for In Vino Morte, which I'm going to paraphrase. Hold on, I might have it right here. I don't have it right here. I'm going to paraphrase that you're a bunch of adults. I don't know. Do you remember it?
So In Vino Morte is a game where you're trying to assign people glasses of wine or poison. So I said, decide amongst yourself who is the first player. If you can't decide, you should not be drinking wine, poisoned or not. So
it's wonderful. So Abide. This is a tough one, and they're all tough. You know, it's like you don't have a game with a theme. I mean, you could go with the heist theme or whatever, but it's hard. Like, I've had such trouble with it this week. So putting you on the spot, does it trigger anything?
Well, it depends. I mean,
we're gonna be patiently waiting for.
Exactly. So my goofy answer is that the person to go first is whoever can wait long enough for the game to start. So the other person is like, just go. So the two of you sit down to play Abide and just like start into the staring contest.
Well, there's like you know, the like stick your finger on the nose game. Like the opposite of that. And I know there is one where you're the last one to lift your finger off of something, or one of those things. Right.
Or so it would be whoever's willing. So you're almost like a bidding thing. So even for the first player, you're saying, all right, look, I will let you start with 3 abide points. So it's like, oh, well, how about you go first and I get the 4 abide points. So you're seeing like what you can actually tolerate to give away as a starting handicap or whatever.
Yeah, I was just thinking of something about standing still, like the last one to move, which is just like so stupid. But
one player, you just play the like, did you flinch games? Like one player flings cards at the other and see if she flinches, and if she doesn't, she gets to go first.
It's amazing. All right, well, now that you know this, you'll be ready for tomorrow's word. But that was my little secret surprise. And I'm not doing this again next week. I might give another wrinkle, like, make it a card game or something. Like, those kind of things at least help me spur in these, like, 80 to 90 days of this podcast.
Right.
It helps me get some extra ideas going, but starting player is hard.
Everyone's going to show up with their, like, start player mechanic. You're like, I'm not doing that now. Aww.
It's over. All right, cool. Tell everybody how they can get in touch with you.
The easiest way is on Twitter at Blue Devil Duke.
Awesome. That's easy enough.
That's all I got.
Cool. All right. Thanks. We'll be back again.
All right.